One Pelsall resident had a terrifying ordeal in the 1980s when some ghostly hitchers appeared in the back of his car one foggy night. Find out what happened and why in this story. It was about 30 or more years ago when this incident happened, but over the years I have been told that the same incident has happened to a number of people when driving along the same stretch of road on a certain day in October. So, for some readers, this story may not come as a great surprise. After attending a works meeting in Chasetown, which is about 5 or 6 miles away from Pelsall, Mr. Atkins was on his way back home to Pelsall. It was between 9 and 10 o'clock at night, and although it was October, the weather was quite mild, but it was foggy. Mr. Atkins could easily see underneath the fog, although what lay ahead of him was a thick mist. Heading back into Norton Keynes along the old Burntwood Road, Mr. Atkins drove carefully due to the fog along this long road in his Mark V Ford Cortina with his radio on. As Mr. Atkins continued to drive along the foggy road, his car suddenly became cold and the radio switched off for no reason. Then he became aware of muttering in the background. It definitely wasn't the radio because it had just stopped working. Mr. Atkins then looked up into his rear view mirror to see where the noise was coming from. Nothing could have prepared him for what he saw. Sitting on the back seat of his car were two people, a man and a woman. The man was wearing a flat cap, scarf and coat, and the woman was wearing an old-fashioned bonnet. Mr. Atkins said that he could see the collar of the old-fashioned dress she was wearing. Then, suddenly, he felt like he was no longer in control of the car or the situation, although everything continued to run smoothly. Then, if that wasn't bizarre enough, Mr. Atkins then found himself outside of the car, watching himself driving the car and the passengers chatting behind him. It was as if he had had an out-of-body experience and all concept of time had completely vanished. Mr. Atkins compared this strange moment to a time slip. Upon reaching the Working Men's Club at the corner of the road, the fog suddenly lifted, taking the cold air with it, and on its departure, the radio suddenly sprang back into life. Mr. Atkins recalled tentatively looking in the rear-view mirror once more, only to see that the uninvited ghostly hitchers had gone, along with the thick wall of fog the car had left behind. Shaking with fear, Mr. Atkins returned to his home in Pelsall. His wife recalled how he was the colour of the ceiling. Soon after the event, a legend was related to Mr. and Mrs. Atkins about the area. A century or more ago, a couple travelling with their pony and trap went missing whilst travelling through this part of Norton Keynes, just on the edge of Pelsall. Having never been found, it was assumed that the couple may have drowned in one of a number of private drift shafts that did and still do exist around the area. It appears that on the anniversary of their disappearance in October, the couple sometimes return and make their presence felt. If you've ever had a similar experience in this part of Pelsall, please let me know.